We are back on Get Up, and let's do best in class. Tim Hasselbeck, besides Trevor Lawrence, which of the quarterbacks in this draft would be the best to start a franchise with?
I'm going Justin Fields. You know, I just like his physical ability. I like the fact that we've seen him do it at the highest level of college football and succeed at it. He's faced some adversity. I think he checks so many boxes. I think he's a better passer than people probably have given him credit for being when you watch some of the stuff that he did at Ohio State. So for me, it's Justin Fields. And look, it was actually a fairly easy question for me.
Domonique, you're next. Which quarterback has the best chance to win Rookie of the Year?
I think it's whoever the 49ers draft, which to me is a great situation. So maybe it's going to be Trey Lance or Justin Fields, but it's looking like it's going to be Mac Jones, who's not the quarterback I would pick. But you land in that situation that has a top-of-the-league offensive line, two great weapons on the outside, possibly the best tight end in the league, and a running back that can take it to the house at any moment. That's a great situation.
I disagree with you completely, and we'll explain why later. Meanwhile, Mel, which quarterback has the best chance to someday lead his team to the Super Bowl?
Trevor Lawrence. It's the reason why Urban Meyer took this job, was knowing he had a quarterback that could be one of the great young quarterbacks in this league. A league loaded with superstars at that position. In order to win a Super Bowl, you got to have your own top guy. He's historic. He's just not really good. He's historically great. And when you get a Trevor Lawrence, you have to believe his career, when it's all over and said and done, will probably have a minimum of 2 to 3 Super Bowls that he at least plays in.
Well, if so, then he is going to buck this trend. What you are looking at on your screen are the only 3 quarterbacks drafted in the first round since 2010 out of 34 quarterbacks with a Super Bowl ring. And you will make note of the fact that Blaine Gabbert and Carson Wentz, neither of them played in the Super Bowl. So a better way to put the stat, and it's a good way to illustrate it there, but guys, of the 34 quarterbacks who've been drafted in the first round since 2010, the only one to actually win the Super Bowl in the way that we consider it is Patrick Mahomes. So again, Mel, you make your living analyzing this stuff, and that, like, why is that? Why is it that these quarterbacks have not translated into winning championships?
Well, let's go back to where Trevor is. Trevor historically is with John Elway, won a couple. You talked about him, 3, lost, 1, 2. Peyton Manning won a couple. Andrew Luck probably could have, but he retired at a young age. Well, you think at where Trevor is. He's with a group that has won a lot of Super Bowls. To the point about why they haven't, I think a lot of it has to do with the organizations, the lack of continuity, the fact that we're talking about some as disappointments. Was Jared Goff a disappointment? He went to a Super Bowl and he lost. Was Wentz a disappointment? Well, he had 3 really good years. He had some injury issues. Some of these quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, has he been a bust? Well, he's going to have a chance to prove everybody wrong in Carolina. Very few teams allow the development of a quarterback to take place. And we're kicking them to the curb early on. Dealing with expectations, dealing with pressure on that quarterback mentally wears on them. So I think there's a lot of factors. This goes back really to 1979 when I started. Joe Montana went in the 3rd round. A quarterback went 3rd overall. Another quarterback went in the 1st. Phil Simms did as well. So Phil was really good, outstanding quarterback. And so was Joe, one of the greatest ever, and 2 busts. In 81, Rich Campbell went in the top 10. Neil Lomax went in the 2nd round. So when I started in this business in the late 70s, they hadn't figured out quarterback. And to this day, the NFL hasn't figured out quarterback. None of us have.
And one other factor, that's such a good historical perspective, but one of the things that has changed, of course, and Tim Hasselbeck, as a quarterback yourself, I would ask you to sort of weigh in on this piece of it, is that I think an unintended consequence of the rookie salary cap is that teams are more inclined to give up more quickly on quarterbacks. It used to be if you took a quarterback early and it looked like you were getting it wrong, you would waste, if you will, 5 years of your franchise trying to find a way to justify it, in part because you were paying that player so much money. Now, because the rookies are generally inexpensive, does it feel to you like teams are maybe pulling the trigger a little too quickly on giving up on these guys?
Grinny, you're exactly right. Your team, the Jets, basically, just said, they said, look, we're actually just resetting financially. That's all we're doing right now. We're resetting the clock financially. It's not that we have given up on Sam Darnold. Like, it was kind of this unique admission that, yeah, things are different because of, what you now, pay a quarterback that you drafted in the 1st round. I think this, when you talk about those numbers and the 34 quarterbacks over 11 years, look, you could really only have a situation where, there's only 11 Super Bowls. So your best case scenario would be a third of those guys, winning a Super Bowl. But then you take a step back and you realize, 4 of them have gone to Brady. So like half of these Super Bowls, have gone to, essentially Tom Brady. So I think you have to factor that part of it in. And then, they go to bad teams, sometimes bad organizations. And quarterback is a dependent position, dependent on the supporting cast, depending on coaching, depending on the organization. Like it is, and it needs to be good around you.
Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complex game. There's 22 guys on the field. The coaches put in a lot of effort, and then the playoffs is single elimination, which adds to a lot of variance. So the idea that there is a franchise changer, like those guys don't come around in the draft every year, but we treat them as if they should be because they're in the top 5. So you can't drop a player into a franchise that's picking in the top 5 because they are bad and think that he's going to go in there and change it. Like, quarterback success or failure is more about the organization than it is about the player. All the guys who we talk about in the first round have the talent to succeed in this league. Otherwise, we would not be talking about them going in the first rounds. The guys who end up succeeding, and the history proves this out, are the guys who end up in great situations. And that's true whether you're drafted in the first round or the 7th. So that's what's going to decide how well these quarterbacks do going forward. But we're still going to, 3 or 4 years from now, call the players who don't succeed bust and not necessarily look at the organization and say the GM and the coaches or the players they put around them are the reason why they didn't succeed.
That's right. Look, we're in a weird place right now. The best thing you can have as a football team is Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. The second best thing you can have is a quarterback on a rookie contract. And that's sort of the direction it's going. And that's not the way this thing should be set up to work. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.